All right, hey, this is Act 2 of the podcast. We're getting right back into it. If you missed Act 1, go back and listen to that thing. Otherwise, this isn't going to make any sense. Okay, see ya. What else was I going to say? It was Bible-related. That movie, I think it's called 1946. Remember I mentioned it? That's when they added the word, like, F rhymes with bag in the Bible. They didn't add that really, but they added homosexual. Thou shalt not be a homosexual was added into the Bible. I haven't yet watched it, but I did find out this. I have a family member that is very, very religious. And we don't talk religion, but I've been trying to do some homework about the ins and outs of what they believe. And, you know, because I'm sometimes concerned about how good-natured people will be towards my daughter who is marrying a transgender man, born a female, now a man, which is happening in June 6th. I can't wait. And so I'm just sometimes concerned about how people feel, and doing a little bit of digging, I found out that the religious organization that this particular organization is affiliated with is another bigger entity spread out through the United States. And from there, I was able to determine what is generally taught about sexuality, and it's a problem. So here's what my job is. Play dumb. Say nothing. Not a word. That is the best play ever. Keeping your mouth shut when there's possibility that people might be like, boy, I don't know. Just act like, I have no idea that anybody doesn't like you because you're gay. I have no idea that you are thought to be going to hell because you're gay. Oh, never heard of that one. Piano Finger Banger says, did you see Trump signed an executive order to ban transgender folks from military service? Now, Trump did that in 2016 as well. So there were literally hundreds of thousands of transgender members in the military. And then Trump in 2016 said, you got to get out. Get out. So the number of military people in the United States military dropped to about 1,000 in all branches when that happened. And then Biden took over and he said, bullshit, we need more of you transgenders. So then all of a sudden, the amount of enlisted members of the military ballooned back up to an astronomical level. So then they're back. I don't know what they did in the 4 years that Trump was there. But then now that Biden, how many years did Biden have? Just 4? Did he have 8 or just 4? He had 4. Now Trump is back and they're banned again. So they got to get out again. And so now the military is going to be very, very weak because we have no transgenders in there. So I don't know. We all know, as we've talked about on this show, that any guy that's in the military is an asshole anyway. But I don't think the transgenders folks fit the requirement of being an asshole. So that means Trump has to go ahead and call on all of his patriots to fill all those spots that are now left out by the transgender people. So if you notice where you live, there's a lot less asshole dudes like in and around the neighborhood and your circles of friends. Hey, what happened to Jim Bob? Well, he joined the military. They have no more transgender people. So I think that that's what's happening now. Stevie writes, how is Caitlyn Jenner a Trump supporter? Makes zero sense. Yeah, that is a mystery. That is a great mystery. And what's crazy is, I obviously don't support Trump, but I do support something that Caitlyn Jenner supports. And that is when it comes to athletics. I have a problem with like the shitty dude swimmer who becomes a chick and then is a great chick swimmer and then beats the hell out of all the other chicks. That I don't like. I think that's horseshit. But far and away, we should have like a transgender division in all of the Olympics. Now, that would make our track meets more exciting. I talked about this on Patreon yesterday about how shitty high school or any track meet is. But if you have a transgender division, oh my God. Yeah. Now that would be awesome. Which reminds me, hang on a second. Pooh Bear is texting me and I have to respond or else she'll get mad at me. Do you ever have that happen? Somebody sent you I mean, I do that too. But I just wanted to let her know that I saw what she was texting me. So Trump in office, and he's like, okay, one of the first things I'm going to do is I'm going to start getting all these immigrants that are here illegally out of the country. So that's happening right now. You got to wrap your mind around this shit. This is happening. And then he also pardoned all of the losers from January 6th. There was like 1,575 of them, and he took all of them and pardoned them except for just a few. And this one asshole somewhere in Indiana, after he got out of his incarceration, he's now dead. The asshole made it out just a handful of fucking days, and then he got pulled over by a cop, and he did the old fucked around and found out. And that fucker is dead. Holy shit.
We're learning somebody involved in the January 6th riot on the Capitol, pardoned by President Trump, has been shot and killed during a traffic stop in Indiana. State police are looking into what happened. They say a deputy tried to arrest Matthew Huddle when, as they put it, an altercation happened between the officer and Huddle, which resulted in the officer shooting his gun. Ryan Riley is following this story for us. What else do we know?
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the first major news stories to emerge from one of these January 6th defendants who was pardoned. I mean, this is something that a lot of my sources have been expecting for a while. Wasn't sure necessarily when it was going to first fall, but this is probably the...
Is he suggesting that we expected people to die in traffic stops?
When it was going to first fall, but this is probably the trickle of stories we're going to get on January 6th going forward. It'll be about people who committed other crimes outside of this. Because remember, while there were certainly a lot of people who stormed the Capitol on January 6th and didn't have a long criminal record and might have even had a no criminal record at all, and were citizens otherwise, upstanding citizens otherwise, according to their neighbors, there was this whole contingent of these January 6 rioters who had some really awful criminal histories behind them. Domestic abuse, really ugly assaults on their partners and wives, child molestation cases,
wow.
These DUI cases. There's a lot of drug problems, a lot of alcohol problems, and now I think some of these January 6 prosecutors are wondering, what's going to be the next story to drop, what's going to come out of this next, and what these offenders are going to do going forward now that they've been pardoned by Donald Trump. Hallie.
Ryan Riley, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ryan, in the newsroom. Well, I think going forward, this needs to replicate itself about another 1,499 times. Now that these guys are out in the open, and it's clear that the cops are just killing them, this is kind of like a balance in the universe, you know? These assholes try to overthrow the government. All right? They're locked away. Trump pardons them, and everybody's like, oh, yes, all right, we're free, we're patriots. And then the police obviously now are going to go out of their way to murder these people in cold blood. And we should all be very happy about that. This is outstanding news. Basically, the police are punishing Trump for pardoning all these people. They don't want these people in their communities. They know, like, this is Jasper, Indiana. This is a small town. You know, there's probably 1,000 people that live there. Like, oh, no, it's been so great since that asshole was gone. Fucking shit, he's back. All right, here's what we're going to do. You pull him over, and then you shoot him in the face. So it's game on. Hunting season has begun on the J6 pardon fucks. This is outstanding. Before they were just locked away. Now they're going to be murdered by the cops. Piano Finger Banger says, is this the same guy who took a dump on Nancy Pelosi's desk? I don't remember that one. I don't remember anybody taking a dump on her desk. I remember the one guy who had his feet up on the desk. But this is outstanding news. This is the type of story that when, like, the newscast ends and you know, there's like, hey, and now for the lighter side of the news. January 6th rioter killed in traffic stop. That's what's going to happen here. I cannot believe that the police have now started to murder the January 6th rioters. I did not see this coming. Wow. So sometime today, I'm sure we will hear another story like this. And this is going to happen until I think the police murder all of these people. Because that's what this is here. God damn. All right, ladies and gentlemen, your old pal EZ needs to use the restroom. As you know, this is a regular thing that we have happen on this show. So I'm gonna do that, and you guys talk amongst yourselves. And I don't know, maybe you have some questions for Kenny. Ask him. This is the segment I'm gonna call Ask Kenny. He's here right now, and you can do that. You can ask him any question you want, and he will answer to the best of his ability in under 2 or 3 lines. Okay, I'll be back. Stay. Okay. I just got wind. Excuse me. Of a story about a. God, who sent me this story? I can't remember if it was Chris or not. Might have been Chris. A Florida elementary school principal is in the news. Now, this is the principal right here. Reminds me of like Kenny Powers' love interest on Eastbound and Down, but more Down syndrome-y. You might see in that little picture there off to the side. Looks like her too. Why in the world would I be talking about a teacher, an educator like this? Tyler says, tell me it isn't kid diddling. Anything but that. I'm not sure. I'm not sure, really. This principal is in deep doo-doo. She had a big bash She had a party, like a kegger. This is her mug shot right here. And that's a rough look right there. Now, I don't think she had the party with the elementary school kids. Patrick says she looks like Uncle Fester. But she had a big-ass blowout. Maybe it was a big rager with super young kids. More than 100 were at the party. One was massively intoxicated that the kid had to be treated at the hospital. Cocoa Beach, Florida. The one that was sick was in the front lawn, heavily intoxicated. 47-year-old Elizabeth Hill Brodigan was arrested. I need to know the ages of these kids. When the EMTs showed up, she was in the house shutting off the outside lights and trying to make it seem like no one was there. An intoxicated adult female approached the cops on the scene, identified herself as a teacher who had been at the party. So there's teachers there too, and the principal. It wasn't just the principal and a bunch of kindergartners. I'm just going to assume that these children were like, 5, 6, and 7 years old, all massively drunk. One to the point of needing medical attention. So then they arrested the teacher. And this is the teacher so you got the principal who's arrested and the teacher who's arrested. So what the hell is going on here? How can people who, are in their 40s and that far along, and they should have enough wisdom banked up it's one thing to hang out with younger people, but to have a fucking blowout with students who you are an educator at their school. Cops interviewed kids and parents. Let's see. Released on bail. Yeah, they don't really get into the ages, so I'm just going to say that these are all like 5, 6, and 7-year-old children who were completely intoxicated in this scenario. My God. Yeah, I don't get it how you can be that far in your career, educated, and you make blunders like this. This you would never, ever hear when I was growing up about educators doing anything like this. We never had educators sleeping with kids. We never had educators getting drunk with students. We hated them. We didn't want to hang out with them. They were ugly. They smelled funny. There was a better hiring process when it comes to the education system back then. The people who did the hiring in the school systems in the years that I went to school, they did a better job. Nowadays, people who do the hiring, they're hiring hot chicks and handsome dudes who all they want to do is molest children and get drunk. It should be a law. Again, easy, day one executive order. If you have any teachers that are attractive, they must be fired. If you have any teachers that drink too much, they must be fired. If they're too friendly, they must be fired. They must be dickish. They're not there to be the students' fucking friends. They're not there to have sex with the students. They're not there to get drunk with the students or engaging in drug activity. They're there to be assholes and teach. Be fair, but do not engage in sex with the children. And when you're in between classes, that is the time for you to go to the teacher's lounge and drink about 5 cups of coffee and smoke about 4 Newports. And then when you come out of the teacher's lounge, you smell like fuck. It makes you even less attractive to the students. I think our educators, our education system, we need to kind of dial in. I think that's got to become a bigger problem. It's a bigger problem than actually school shootings, in my opinion. That educators being attractive and smelling too nice. They need to be fucked up. They need to be old. They need to be angry. They need to dislike students and smell like Newports and coffee. And don't share too much with these maniacs, with these kids. All right? All right. Speaking of educators doing terrible things, our very own Maureen passed along a story that is again part of this horrible, horrible trend. 40-year-old Tasha Furnett. She was found guilty by a jury in the local court. It's known as Shiawassee County. And she liked having sex with kids. 4 felony counts. She'll be in prison for quite some time. 3 counts of third-degree criminal sexual conduct and 1 count of obstruction of justice. This story was hard for me to find. It was covered in the local Shiawassee County newspaper. And they have a website, but you have to have an account in order to access it. And then I was shocked because I couldn't really find anybody else that was covering the story. So sweet Maureen went out of her way, and she actually has a hard newspaper copy of it sent my way with this information on it. And this is right in Maureen's backyard, as I indicated. So here's how it went. This is incredible, because there was a moment when this teacher got to speak her piece before sentencing, and it really fucked her up, so that she got even more of a sentence. She was 38 at the time. And the victim was a 16-year-old girl. This, of course, was at a Christian school. Most of these incidents happen at Christian schools. Okay? It's a little-known fact that if you were to look at the staffs of any Christian school, recent studies indicate that 9 out of 10 Christian school educators have had sex with a child. This victim was one of her students, and she kind of convinced the 16-year-old that they were going to be together forever, and they're going to get married. She's 22 years older than her, and it's a minor. Now, I did find out that in the state of Michigan, the age of consent is 16. Now, I wasn't aware of that. But that is, I thought it was 18. But the age of consent in Michigan is 16, and it is illegal for an adult authority figure to engage in sexual relations with children age 17 and under. So, but I'm guessing that Furnett here, even though the kid was 16, wasn't just there to hold hands. I mean, it was getting hot and heavy. There also, though, is a law that if you are a authority figure, you cannot engage in anything like this if the person is 16 years old. So in this case, teacher, student, no can do. Now, that's a bummer for a lot of these teachers, because this is what they want. They have to wait until they're 17 before they can do this type of stuff. Let's see. The obstruction count was connected to text messages asking the victim to tell authorities that she had fabricated the details of the relationship. So teacher was well aware that she was talking to authorities, so she's trying to convince her to cover for her. That's a problem. Now, they're in the courtroom. This is where it gets really interesting to me. The judge sentenced Fournette from 85 to 180 months in prison. I can't do the math on that, but that's a long time. For each of the counts, and 30 to 60 months in prison for obstruction. The sentences are to be served concurrently or at the same time, which is just bullshit. I've never understood that. I mean, it's like getting a 3-for-1 deal. It should be consecutively, not concurrently. The prosecutor said to the victim, "Great job." It says, "I want to thank you for being very brave. This isn't an easy journey for her." See, a lot of the times in these fucked up scenarios like this, the 16-year-old actually falls in love with like the teacher or the authority figure that doesn't want anything bad to happen to her, still loves her. But we all know that, you know, so that's what makes it so fucked up, and it hurts the kid, you know? The judge said this: "A number of things trouble me with this case. The defendant's own testimony." So this teacher, Fournette, said, "Age is just a number, Your Honor, and we wouldn't be here if I wasn't a teacher." So if you're found guilty and the judge says, "Do you have anything to say for yourself?" and all you can come up with during sentencing is, "Age is just a number, and if I wasn't a teacher, this would be cool." Good God. She probably just added on a couple more years with that comment alone. If I'm the judge, I would say, well, I was going to be lenient on you, but since you're a fucking idiot, now I'm going to add on more time. Way to go. The judge then said, and we wouldn't have been here. And we wouldn't have been. The victim is 16 and Tasha is a teacher, and that's why we had this case, and that's why she is convicted of felonies, because this is a person that is trusted by students. And then this teacher said that she engaged in the sexual behavior because she was worried about the victim's mental state. So I guess she's suggesting, yeah, the kid was having a bad day, so I chowed child muff. That's what she's saying there. My God. Even in her statement she made to the court, it's her position that the child was threatening self-harm. Therefore, I had to have sex with her. That's what the judge said she is saying. And she tried to carry that argument through into sentencing. The judge then said Fournette claimed in the present tense report that I told the victim I didn't want her to hurt herself and I'd do anything she wanted to get her to stop. And this is when it became sexual. Yeah, that's not really a way to help a victim. I mean, I can't imagine like the cops trying to work that one into their negotiation toolbox when some guy's going to jump off the Golden Gate Bridge. Hey, we know you're contemplating killing yourself, so we're going to fuck you in the ass. How does that sound? Ah! The defense attorney, William Amadeo, asked the judge to take into consideration that the mother of 4 had a clean criminal history prior to this case before handing down the sentence. Yeah, that doesn't mean she never did anything weird. Oh, my God. When given the chance to address the court, Fournette said, "I'm sorry for my actions." And that's it. Close the book on this wacko. My God. Yoda World says, oh, so it's the kid's fault. I see. Stevie says, blaming the victim, of course. Please tell me she lost the kid, says Yoda World. Yeah, she was going to kill herself, so I had sex with her. Cole says, yeah, speaking of just numbers, here's 30 to life. Don't worry, it's just a number. This Maureen really wants me to show the mug shot. I don't think it's that weird of a mug shot. She looks pretty normal to me. Badger said, is the kid alive? Yeah. The kid's alive. Probably getting some intensive an intensive bit of therapy to turn it around. But my God, I'm telling you, this never, ever happened in the 70s and 80s when I went to school. Just didn't happen. For the reasons that I gave you, which is why I should be an educator, a superintendent of schools going forward. First of all, if I had a school, the school district wouldn't be called the name of the community. It'd be called the Eric Zane School District. All right. And the teachers would be so ugly that until the students get used to them, they'd have to wear like when you go to a Lions game and they suck, they put bags on their heads. They'd have to wear bags on their heads. Then slowly but surely they would introduce their ugly faces to the students. And I would pay them top dollar. They would get a lot of money. Okay? Starting salary, just so that I don't have to put up with them saying, oh, I'm underpaid. Oh, I don't have any money for school supplies. I'm so overworked. Oh, because everybody knows all teachers do is bitch nowadays. Top 2 things on teachers' to-do list: have sex with kids and complain about everything. How about you eliminate the having sex with kids and complaining and, teach? My God. I'm sick and tired of people saying that teachers need our support. In my opinion, they need less support. They need to be taught that the real world does not involve a 6-month vacation every year. Tyler writes, teachers just had 3 days off last week. Paid days off. Exactly. On this show, we take a hard and fast stance on the occupations that everybody kisses ass on. The military and teachers. My God. I think we need more appreciation for podcasters. Actually, I take it back. Just me. One podcaster. Tyler says, wait, they had 4 days off. It was MLK Day. Exactly. Badger says firefighters need more respect. Yeah, definitely. I would say, we should take away some of that money that goes to teachers and give it to firefighters. Cops, too. Especially now that the cops are going to be killing all of the January 6th assholes who stormed the Capitol. Hopefully today, more good news. Meow Sticelite says, yo, what's your opinion on Israel versus Palestine? Well, it started off as a pretty interesting matchup between those two, with Palestine starting out with an elbow from the back of the room and laying some serious smack, only to be virtually wiped out by the Israelis, who I think somewhere along the way, the Israelis lost their way when it comes to wiping out the Gaza Strip. if you recall, didn't they start on one end and they started to just destroy it? And then somewhere along the way, they kind of stopped, I guess. And now it's ending. And by the way, that ceasefire, when it all started, both sides took it right to the edge. Like there was a start time. It was supposed to start at a certain time on Sunday. They were shooting the shit out of everybody in a flurry of murder leading up to the actual ceasefire. Which, I mean, they were like, there was one video I saw where the Israelis were running through a children's hospital. And they were going into like the child care wing, what do they call that? The NICU. And the plan was to go in the NICU and throw a couple of hand grenades into the NICU. And so they were given orders by the top general to do that. And they had a guy there who was watching a stopwatch. And you can see it in the video. And as they charged into the NICU to slaughter these infant Hamas terrorists, the clock struck 12. And they had like the pin in their mouth. They actually did. They pulled the pin out of the hand grenades. And the guy goes, time, cease fire. And so these Israeli soldiers have grenades in their hand. And so they threw the goddamn grenades into the hallway. And the grenades blew up, and the entire hospital staff was wiped out. The children had no idea what was going on. You know, these are children that are fighting for their lives to begin with. And then the ceasefire started. The peace thing, I guess. And so immediately, Israeli soldiers put down their weapons and they picked up these babies. And they coddled them. And they were taking care of these terrorist babies. And there was all sorts of pictures. It was quite a moment, to be sure. But that's the kind of crazy that's been going on there. Now, I'm not sure how it is. You have Biden who says, well, I did it. I was the one who got the peace accord. Or whatever it is that they came up with so that they stopped killing babies in the NICU. But I don't know if I believe that. I think that this became a thing. And they're like releasing the hostages, you know, all the people that the Hamas had captured on that first horrible incident way back when. They start like releasing them now. And I don't know why, but a lot of people have said it's because Hamas is worried about Trump. Because Trump, he like has a gold chain with like a Star of David. So he is like an honorary Jew. And I'm pretty sure that they know that Biden will only supply weapons to the Israelis, but he will still support Hamas. That was a thing during his presidency. So he would send over $1 billion worth of weapons to kill Hamas, and then he'd go into the next room and say, I love Hamas. So then people are like, oh, thank God you love Hamas. And then he'd go back and say, hey, don't forget those weapons to target the orphanages. And then they'd be like, yeah. And then so he's like playing both sides. Trump, not so much. Hamas realizes, the Palestinians realize that he's going to blow them up. And that's why I think, in my opinion, that hostage siege ended and we're working our way towards peace. So Trump, I mean, I don't like him. I don't care for anything he does, but he's getting terrible things done. He is working very hard to do these terrible things that he promised so that you losers can drive around with your trucks, with your stupid MAGA flags, and attack gay people. That's what you have. And so now we have to put up with this for another 3 years and 51 weeks. So we're willing to bide our time just as long as the police continue to kill the January 6th assholes. All right. So those are my thoughts as to what is going on between Palestine, the Palestinians, and the Israelites. I shouldn't say Israelites. That's what they call them in the Bible. The Israelis. Meow says, damn, that's crazy, bro. You so right. Can you count down for me? I'm almost finished. I'm not sure I know what you mean there. It sounds strange. Cole says it's going to be great. It's going to be a great 3 years and 51 weeks. A lot of my audience loves this. Piano Fingerbanger says, easy, what's your breakdown on the DeepSeek AI taking down Silicon Valley? Don't know about that. Never heard of it. That's the first time I have ever heard of those, what that is. I don't even know what it is. It's the first time I've heard those words. All right. Before we go on any further, remember, I got a new roof put on this house in the summer, and I want you to do the same by reaching out to Werner Roofing. WERNER. WernerRoofing.com. Their number is 616-844-5382. 616-844-5382. Go to the website or call. Mention me when you call or you're filling out the form on the website, which is basically you just saying, hey, give me a call. Somebody call me. I got to get after this roof. This thing's leaking like crazy. They also do siding. They do gutters. They do metal roofs. WernerRoofing.com. The official cannabis shop for the Eric Zane Show podcast is in Greenville, Michigan. Green Medicine Shop. Online at thegreenmedicineshop.com. Now, if you are just kind of curious, like you're thinking about smoking some pot or getting some gummies, or maybe you're dealing with chronic pain and you want to deal with that, the good news is working there every day, not just some asshole stoner who smells like fuck. They might have one of those, but there's a pharmacist there. Like the shop was started by an actual pharmacist. Her name is Shawnee. She's absolutely a stone cold stunner knockout. Go see Shawnee. Her and her husband, Matt, are there. And bang on their door in Greenville, Michigan, and pick up your 10 legal ounces of cannabis and go to your home and smoke it. If you're under 21, you can get cannabis with a med card, which you can obtain through their website, thegreenmedicineshop.com, for the customers of theirs who are 18 to 21. The accountant on the Eric Zane Show podcast, who takes care of all of my tax stuff, both personal and business, Troy Ginzer at Tag Accounting. Online at tagcpa.net. I just heard from Kyler, who we haven't seen on the show in a while. He said, easy, who is that guy? I've been mentioning this for years. That's why I keep mentioning, because not everybody listens to every word I say. Tag Accounting, you can call 616-301-9516. But when you go to tagcpa.net, all their contact info is right there. Mention me. No matter where you are in the U.S., get your taxes done right and fast. It can also help you with any business-related accounting or payroll services. I take advantage of all of these things with Tag Accounting. Absolutely outstanding. Last but not least today, the certified broker, independent insurance guy for the show is Frank Fuss. Now, if you are without health insurance, you have to get it. So if you're self-employed, maybe your boss does not offer health care, or you're in between jobs, you get your health care through healthcare.gov or Obamacare. Some of you are like, well, I don't even know what that is. How does that even work? That's okay. All I'll tell you is this. Here's the basics. You're going to have health care. It's going to be excellent. It's not going to cost you that much. It does cost a lot, but you don't have to pay all of that. How? How does that work? Look, I can't explain all that to you right now, but it's set up through the government. Frank is an expert on it, and he can help you with that for free. Everything he does is free. It costs no money. He gets paid by the insurance companies. So this is what you want to do. The only thing you have to do is go to buyinsurancehere.com. That's BUY insurancehere.com. And you will be able to fill out a form, and then Frank will contact you, and you will be able to have a conversation with him to be able to get access to this, and he can help you out every step of the way. All right. Chris says, Eric Zane, enough beating around the bush. What's your take on the zipper merge? Oh, come on now. We don't. If you don't know how to do a zipper merge, you're just an asshole. I will say this, though. There have been plenty more people that have been doing a zipper merge. I've noticed that. So you're trudging along. You've got a line of cars that are traveling 5 miles an hour. The lane to the left is wide open. That's the one that's coming down a lane, merging in. What you do, you still got a half mile. If the motorist used all of that lane and then at the merge point alternated, it's going to move smoother, be faster, not a long backup. It's cut in half. So what I do, and I recommend you do it this way because it's the most unsafe. The problem that happens is when you kick out into that lane, there's always Joe Blow, traffic, hold everything up, renegade, vigilante guy. He's same guy who storms the Capitol. Like all the time that these guys have been incarcerated, zipper merges have been working, but now they're back. So what I do is I kick it into that left lane, and I get close to the long line of traffic, like on an unsafe level of close, while going faster and faster. So when asshole looks in his side view mirror and he sees that lane has me in it, I'm close to the cars and I'm going fast. It is a deterrent for them because of my closing speed and how close I am to even consider pulling out. I don't fuck around when I'm doing my zipper merge. And they don't even think about it because they think I'm fucking nuts. Then, as you get towards the end where the merge is, you jam on the brakes. All right? And you match the speed of the lane. And then you look ahead and you pick out who's not paying attention. Get into the gas. Boom. Rip it over. You've just eaten out about 10 minutes of time. Corey says, we don't have that in Maine. I've been to Maine. No one lives in Maine. There are no roads that are anything more than one lane going one way and another lane going another way. There's no need for zipper merges because there's no roads to accommodate two lanes. I enjoyed my time in Maine, though, this summer. Very large state and no people in it. I missed out on doing something, though. Where we were, there's this community called Bar Harbor, and it's a nightmare. It's a tourist trap, and someone said, "Oh my God, you've got to see Bar Harbor. It's awesome. And I'm like, oh, okay. So we go there. And then within 3 seconds, I'm like, I hate every second of this. It's just this touristy place where you, after you park, after you drive around looking for a parking spot for like 3 months, and then you park way the fuck far away, and then you walk into this little town, and you go in the first store you go in, and you can get like a rock that says Maine on it, and it's polished, and maybe like a little lobster that says Maine on it, and then a T-shirt that says Maine. And then you walk out of there, and you go to the next shop, and they have this polished rock in the window, and it says Maine. And then next to that is this little figurine lobster, and it says Maine on it. And then you can get a Maine T-shirt. And then you go to the next store. We lasted about an hour. And then the food is ridiculously expensive. Lobster shacks, roadside lobster stands everywhere. Not the nicest, but still the food is, you feed 4 people, it's $125. You get 4 lobster rolls, it's $125. But there is a spot in Bahaba where when the tide is out, the harbor is sand. And I guess the thing to do is go clamming. And you get a bat. Now, I kind of would have liked this, I think. But you go out there and you pick up all the clams. And then you eat the clams. There was like wall-to-wall people until the tide comes in, and then it brings in more clams. This happened at the one of the NBA basketball games. Thank you to Chris for sending this along and anything else that you send. You always send me a handful of things. If you ever want to help the show along with things to talk about, go ahead and send me a story that you found interesting. Bro is standing at half court. $20,000 on the line.
Come to Paycom Center. This just happened. One of the in-game promotions. And he got the bounce from half court. $20K in his pocket, Mike.
My goodness. And, you know, you look at the excitement, because that's a difficult shot, first of all, folks.
He's doing horns down. You know, the hook 'em horns. In OKC, they hate Texas, so he's doing horns down. I don't know what rap group is congratulating him.
Because that's a difficult shot, first of all, folks.
Okay, Thunder.
You got your street clothes on. Another thing, basketball gear, you got on your sneakers and the Thunder jersey. And you make a shot from half court for $20K.
Let's send it over to Nick.
All right.
Hey, I've got Jake here. Come to pay.
Again, more interesting than anything that happens on the court. Jeremy with a great point about clamming. Given your love for picking up sticks, I bet you would have loved clamming. You aren't kidding, man. Maybe so. Okay, so here we go. It is time for the asshole of the day. Do you have any suggestions for me on today's asshole of the day? Okay, there we are. It is brought to you by TC Paintball, online at tcpaintballgr.com. The Kansas City Chiefs won it yesterday. Let's see. I think I know. Yeah, it's got to be the pedo teacher. Corey says the other January 6th domestic terrorists that haven't gotten shot yet. No, not this time. Not this time. And I can't really give the guy an asshole of the day because he got shot. I can give like a hero of the day award to the cop who shot him, but not an asshole of the day to the guy who got shot. I mean, he's dead, whatever. Still an asshole, but not asshole of the day. Okay. Thank you so much, folks. I appreciate you. You, as always, are just an outstanding audience. Such a outstanding audience. Thank you so much. I will talk to you a little later on in the Patreon bonus podcast. Till then, thank you, and bye-bye.